my man, Stephen A. Smith, and your man, you've done First Take with him, am I correct?
Sir. Yeah,
yes.
Sure
Stephen
have.
A. Smith, he was talking about Ohtani and made some comments that have become quite controversial. Here he goes.
I understand that baseball is an international sport itself in terms of participation. But when you talk about an audience gravitating to the tube or to the ballpark to actually watch you, okay, I don't think it helps that the number one face is a dude that needs an interpreter so you can understand what the hell he's saying in this country. And that's what I'm trying to say.
All right, I'm going to let you have first stab at that, Ryan. What are your thoughts on this? He's basically saying because Ohtani doesn't speak English, in his interviews, he actually can speak it to some degree, but he has an interpreter in his interviews. Steve used the word harm, that he actually is harming the game of baseball. Your thoughts?
I'm somewhere in between, man. You got to understand, here in America, ain't none of us other than the Native Americans are this is our land. Like, this is a melting pot. So this is the land of the free, or so-called free. And it has to stay that way. And ultimately, as far as Ohtani's concerned, I do hear to a degree what Stephen A. is saying. There's no different, the same criticism, Chris, I know you're part of this train too, that we've had of Kawhi Leonard, and saying, man, you got to be more marketable. You got to get out there and speak. You can't just go and hide all these things. So Ohtani is going to, maybe make light of the interpreter, learn enough English, have it grow on you and get more comfortable, because if that's something that he wants as the face of baseball, you got to own it. When it comes to the NBA, LeBron James, he's not going to be appreciated while he's playing, but the fact that the best player in basketball is willing to do the photo ops and being seen and gets on Instagram and Twitter and speaks his mind, it is amazing for the NBA. And the NBA, just how Michael Jordan set it off, LeBron James caught the stick on a relay, and he kept going. So in terms of Ohtani, if he's going to be the face of baseball, he's definitely a stud. He's definitely the athlete, but the personality, the people are going to have to see. The difference with basketball, basketball's grown where it's grown, is the personalities. In the NFL, Tom Brady, Gronkowski, those guys, Drew Brees, Aaron, who is Aaron Rodgers? What's his personality? What's he like behind the scenes? You have to see that as the general fan to gravitate to the sport. But as far as saying it's not good for baseball, I think Stephen A. has to put more context to it. I didn't hear everything that he said in there, Chris, but I'm somewhere in between. But to say that he can't would be a poor take to say.
Well, Stephen A. is being criticized all over social media. And actually some media members have written articles saying it was a racist statement and xenophobic. Now, let me say this. If I go to another country, I want to assimilate into that society, then I should learn the language. Amen. Okay, if I go to live in France and I want to assimilate into French society, I should learn to speak French. I shouldn't expect everybody to learn to speak English. Okay? And so doing that is not xenophobic. Like in America, we have one language that we all are taught. We got people from all different races, ethnicities, religions, everything. The only way we all can communicate is if we're taught one standard language. And in this country, it's English. And I think that people coming here, you should learn English if you want to assimilate into the society. It doesn't mean you can't speak your other languages in your home and your culture and all that. But we need one way that all of us can communicate. So, Chris, and in this country, it's English.
Check this, Chris. So my last year playing, I played in Spain and Italy. Italy was very American friendly, Right. And they pretty much, it's almost a disgrace. Everyone knows English, okay? It's funny. Like everywhere, there's a level of English that's spoken. And my coach was Spanish speaking, and his English was just okay. He would ask the other coaches to kind of relay messages, but he gave me a ride home in his car one day. and you got this English speaking guy and you got this Spanish speaking coach. And the fact that my broken down Espanol, I tried to speak to him and relay messages and get across, it meant the world to him, Chris. And instead of me just saying, nah, bro, I'm going to just say English and this is my thing, me trying to speak the Spanish to him or giving an honest effort, because there's a bit of an embarrassment if I can't speak correctly, and he wants to, he knows it. He knew a lot more English than he let on, but there's a bit of embarrassment if you don't speak it. But the fact that we both humbled each other to speak it, man, we saw eye to eye, man. Me and that guy, me and Coach, we got along just fine, but they just want to see the efforts, Chris.
Good. No, I think that's fine. But the coach isn't asking the entire league to start speaking Spanish, to accommodate him. That's what I'm individually and all that. My grandparents spoke French, Creole. So they spoke, that's what they spoke in their home. But then when they were in society, they spoke English because that's what most people spoke.
Yes.
So I'm get all that. I just want to establish that a lot of people, like what Stephen A. said wasn't xenophobia. Here's the definition of xenophobia: intense or irrational dislike or fear of people from other countries. That's not anything at all what Stephen A. Smith said or meant. So let's stop it with that. Let's have a rational conversation and stop being on the extremes. Because that's part of the problem with America today is people act like nothing is nuanced and everything is at these extremes. That's why people can't get along. And so now I will say this. So Ohtani is in a job where, well, let me put it this way. A lot of times, if you're so great at either sports or entertainment or something like that, you transcend race and language. Mm-hmm. So Ohtani is so good. I mean, he's captivated the baseball world.
Yeah.
And without being able to speak English in his interviews. Right? Or without choosing to speak English in his interviews. So he is so good that he's transcending the language barrier. So I don't think it's harming baseball at all. What I would say is this: if anything, it could potentially hinder Ohtani in terms of endorsements, marketing. Now, he'll probably get some of that anyway, but he maybe would get even more if he speaks English in commercials and things like that, because obviously the people watching him on television in America speak English. So,
well, Chris, it does hurt when you're best player. So listen, here's the thing with Stephen A. It feels like Stephen A. without speaking to this brother or having a conversation and knowing the real why is attacking him, and that's where it's like, well, why is this guy being
attacking him?
No, but he wasn't attacking his energy.
No, but I watched the interview or the show when he was on. He wasn't attacking him. I mean, Stephen A. obviously is aggressive and speaks in that way, but he wasn't attacking him. He was just saying he thinks it's harming baseball that he doesn't speak English, and I don't agree. I don't think it's harming baseball.
Like I said, but Chris, listen, like I said, the best player has a responsibility off the field or off the court. So that is true. But
you do think it's harming baseball?
To a degree, it definitely is. But I got to see: is this man willing to grow? Has he accepted? He may not even really understand. He's the best player in the league, dog. He may not be hitting them like that.
No, but here's the thing: he's only been healthy this season. So he's not yet the best player in the game. I mean, he may be the MVP if he stays healthy, but he could be a fly-by-night thing, maybe just because of injuries.
Exactly. Yes.
So I don't think he's got to sit down and say, okay, let me take on the responsibility of being the best player in the league. Look, if a few years from now he's still going strong like this on the plate, on the mound, I would bet he's going to get better and better at English and begin speaking it in his interviews and things like that. I'm just saying certain athletes are so great that they can transcend that. Manny Pacquiao doesn't speak very good English, but because he was such a great electric boxer, Americans loved him. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So That's my thing.
He's going to have to give the effort, Chris. It's too early to judge. Right now, if he stays hold at his own pace, it wouldn't be good. But we can't say that this brother isn't willing to learn or speak or give the effort or at least show personality. You know what I'm saying? And I remember
it seems like he has personality.
Chris, you remember Sasha Pavlovic played with LeBron, was a part of those runs, and I played with him in Minnesota. And Sasha, you know, his English was perfectly fine, but he was so funny. There's an anxiety going into events and things, and he come to me and he go, I tell him I don't know English. Tell him I don't know English. Don't say anything to me. Don't say anything to me, man, because he'd be nervous when there was a group of people.
Right,
he didn't want to talk.
Yo, you got some brothers that used to speak Ebonics and was getting nervous in front of the American media. Real talk.
No disrespect.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
And so, no, I can imagine. I mean, if I was in a country and say I was in Spain and my Spanish was not very good. Yeah, you're in an interview with heck, Naomi Osaka doesn't like doing the press conferences anyway, and she speaks English. So I get how it could really, intimidate someone. But I think people are overreacting to it, to what Stephen A. said. Like I said, I don't agree that
it was a little aggressive, man.
I don't think it's harming it, but you agree with what he was saying.
But listen, here's the deal. Ohtani, he's not an aggressive guy. When you got a lot of energy towards somebody who's not aggressive, then we go, whoa, Stephen A.
Here's my thing, and you brought it up in your first comment. I can't remember who it was about, but Kawhi. So what if Stephen A. In fact, baseball and media in general, we're saying Mike Trout needs to be more outgoing.
Very true.
Right? He's their best player. He needs to be more outgoing and all that. And very few people got offended. You know, they didn't say, why? Why didn't anybody get offended at that? That's his personality. That's all essentially, Stephen A. Look, you one of the top players. Right now, you're the best player. You have, like you said, a responsibility to market the game, lead the game. But I actually think, like I said, I don't think at this point, if 4 years from now, Ohtani's still the best player and he hasn't made the effort to speak English in his press conference. It's a little
premature, man.
Maybe then, right? Maybe then. But at this point, I actually think Ohtani being from another country, being a guy that's doing something we haven't seen since Babe Ruth, that probably is helping the game.